Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee, and welcome to this card making tutorial. This is the fun card you're making featuring the new duck set from Stampin' Up. It's called Charming Duck Pond, and aren't they cute? And I feel this is Mr. and Mrs. Mallard having a conversation at the duck pond. So now I'm using the matching designer series paper, and I'm trying to decide where I want to place my die, and this is the deckled rectangle dies. So I'm going to do it there, and I'm going to run that through the die cutting machine, and I'm going to cut my scene out. Okay, so now we have our background scene for our card, and obviously I've got something sticky stuck to my grid paper because it's really stuck to the cutting mat below. So I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus because I want to do a little bit of stamping here. So I'm just going to hold that down with a magnet. And this is the stamp set we're going to use. It's called Charming Duck Pond. And we're going to stamp our sentiments. So we've got here one that says, "Hello friend." And then we have one here that says, "Happy birthday." So we're going to stamp these two in Versamark clear ink. So I'm just putting that back in the corner like that. And now I'm going to use my powder tool. So this will ensure the embossing powder will only stick where I have Versamark ink. And we're going to stamp in Versamark clear embossing ink. And this will allow us to white heat emboss on top. And it's just a clear sticky ink. So press down, up. Okay, move that aside. Going to bring in my white embossing powder, and we're just going to put some down where there we go. There it is. Where my sentiments are, so that's happy birthday. And there we have hello friend. And I'm just making sure it's all covered. Put my embossing powder back in this little tub. And now we're ready to heat set this. Now I'm just going to use a paintbrush quickly before I do heat set it to remove any powder that's where I don't want it to be. And I'm just using a very fine paintbrush, as I said. So I'm just going over that, give it a little tap. And now I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to let this heat up for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds before I bring it to the paper. And I'm going to keep moving it over my paper. So it doesn't stay in one place, and that will help stop the paper from warping and burning maybe. And we're just going to heat set that. Right, we're ready to do some stamping, and we're ready to stamp our little ducks. Now these are two-step stamps, so we're going to stamp the one base layer, and then we're going to stamp the next layer on top of that. Okay, so the colour I'm using here is Smoky Slate, and we're just stamping our base layer, as you can see there. And then I'm going to take the next bit and I'm going to stamp in, what colour am I stamping in here? Pretty Peacock, that's it. So you need to look straight through your stamp, so you need to get your head right over the stamp, look straight through from the top, and there we go. Okay. And now we're going to do the second one here. And for this I'm going to use copper clay, I think, is one of my colours here. Let's have a look now. This was pecan pie, and then I'm going to use copper clay. Okay, there we go. Yes, that was pecan pie or pecan pie, however you say it. And now I'm going to use copper clay. And then we're going to have our two little duckies facing each other, having a little conversation. Okay, and we're going to cut these out using the matching dies. So this was the Charming Duck Pond set, and there are some matching dies. Oh, first, sorry, before we do that, we're going to stamp our little beaks and stuff. Can't forget all the other little bits. So let's just do that. And the stamps the little tootsies and their beaks, and you have one for each ducky. And I'm just putting it flat on my paper and then picking it up, and this ensures I don't twist or change the orientation in any way of the stamp. Okay, so that's done. Lovely. Close up those ink pads there. And, well, we're going to stamp a little frog. I'd forgotten about a little frog. He's the cutest little thing. Really, really sweet. So we're stamping him then in some Granny Apple Green, and then I'm just getting my, whatever you call this colour here, Pretty Peacock for the rest of it. There we go. Isn't that cute? It's that little froggy, Mr. Froggy Woggy. Okay, so let's clear the decks a little bit, give ourselves some space. And now I'm just going to use my markers. These are the matching colours in the markers, and I'm just using these to, add a bit more colour and variation and depth to my animals, because I wanted there to be less white space on my images. So here I'm just using the smoky slate, and I'm just going in and adding a little bit more colour to the one duck. You can see here, just very gently, and these are just the Stampin' Right alcohol markers, so nothing fancy. It's not just the Stampin' Right markers. They're not alcohol markers, they're just our standard markers, the ones we've always had. Okay, and now you can see here I'm going to go in with the other smoky slate or crumb cake onto the other bird and just add some extra detail. So it's not so flat, and it's not, as I said, not so much white space, because I really didn't want there to be that much white space. I don't feel that, in reality, the ducks have so much white on them. So that's what I was doing here, and then I'm going to add a little bit of colour to my frog's little water lily pad that he's sitting on, and there again, adding some more colour to the edge of the frog. There we go, and as I said there, we're going to cut it out using the matching dies, the Charming Duck Pond dies. There, everything is now cut out. So now we're ready to start to assemble our card. So our card base here is Pretty Peacock. It's a standard A6 card base. That's an A4 sheet cut in half and then folded in half. And then I've taken a piece of basic white measuring 14.35 centimeters by 10. I've stuck that on the inside for our insert. Now I'm going to stick our designer series paper on the outside, and I'm going to pop up all our little images on dimensionals, and then we can start to arrange them on the card front however we want. Now it's a good time to say, if you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. If you're wanting more information on the project, the supply list, the measurements, etc., it's all on the blog post, and you can find those links in the description box below. So there we've got our two little ducks having a conversation, one coming to say happy birthday to the other. And then we've got our little frog here in the front just listening in. Isn't that cute? I do love it. And here are some finishing touches. And these are the adhesive backed dappled dots. And I'm just going to put a few around, and I almost thought these were maybe like little stones here and there on the edge of the pond. So there you go. I hope you liked that project, and thank you for watching today, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.